Greetings, free light community. This is Ellen Wright, and today we're going to talk about filters. So, this morning I was vacuuming, and a big cloud of smoke came out of my vacuum, and I knew enough to know that maybe the bag was filled. So, I took the bag outside, and I took the old vacuum cleaner outside, and I cleaned it out, and it continued to have all of this powder coming out of it. And so I realized, oh, maybe I should clean the filter. And so that's what I did. I cleaned the filter, and I was able to then vacuum, and my vacuum worked perfectly after that. Well, just like our appliances sometimes have filters, our cars, our vacuum cleaners, we also have filters in our minds. And the filters help us to perceive information. Now, the filters can be good, and the filters can work for us, or the filters can work against us. And basically, filters are our thoughts or beliefs about something. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about cleaning out your filters and understanding true hurt versus perceived hurt. Now, I want to get something straight right now. I have two categories of hurt. And under the first category, when you think about being hurt by someone, this week I've talked a lot about vulnerability. And some people have asked me, well, Ellen, can't you really get hurt? Well, yes, there's actual hurt that exists. And the main category, the first category of hurt, is usually around abuse. Mental, verbal, physical, sexual, financial, those are all common forms of actual abuse. When someone crosses over your boundaries and does something to deliberately hurt you, and to put you in a bad situation. Now, there's another type of hurt that occurs through our filters. And that's the type of hurt I'd like to talk about today. And that type of hurt occurs when someone says something to you that you then perceive as being hurtful, or someone acts in a way that you then perceive as hurtful. So I know that I was once a person who had filters that were very cloggy, and I perceived things from a standpoint of not enoughness, and I've talked about not enoughness in other videos. But on this one particular occasion, I had a friend and her husband, who's also a friend of mine, and I lived with them for a short period of time. And one day the husband said to me, and I was actually living with them and going to graduate school and actually helping to take care of their son, kind of being their nanny. And one day the husband said to me, if you ever want to have a place to live, I will build you a house out back, and you can live on our property and you can be there with us. And my filter back then said, they just want me to live and serve them. They don't actually want me to be around them. They don't actually care about me. They actually just want me to help them do something. They're not realizing that I'm in graduate school and that I'm a person who's trying to achieve being a counselor. They see me as what my grandmother and my great-grandmother were seen as, which was help. And so that's what my filter said. And I actually had a very tense relationship with my friend after that for years, until we actually had a discussion about it after I started kind of getting into the self-love journey. And I actually asked her about it. I said, why did he say that? And she said, because he loves you. Because he saw you as an extension of our family, a part of our family. And he wanted you to know that if everything else didn't work out, you would always have a place to live. that you would always have family, that you would never be alone. And I didn't take it that way. And when she said that to me, it kind of dawned on me that I'd never thought that. My filter had told me that they were saying that I was less than, that I wasn't good enough. Now, culturally, there are a number of different things that we are, we have to get used to, and we have to understand how we make up our filters. One of my filters culturally is that my great-grandmother took care of other people's children. And my parents were very clear with me from a very early age that I needed to be an academic, or that I needed to, do something else with my life, that I wasn't, essentially enslaved to someone else and someone else's family. That's a generational cultural message. There's nothing wrong with taking care of other people's children. Nothing at all. But when you add the cultural spin onto it, along with another filter of feeling not good enough, and you never question it, and you never say, hey, what was that statement all about? You never attempt to clarify it. That's a recipe for hurt. Have you ever said something to someone else about, anything that then they take the wrong way, and you're like, wait, I didn't mean it like that at all? That's their filter. And that has nothing to do with you. That is to do with them being aware of them. And some filters you don't want to let go of, because some filters are necessary in the world that we live in. But some filters are very, very detrimental, because there are some people who walk around all day long feeling cut off and blocked off from other people because they cannot feel love, because their filters are clogged. Those angry women that people say and talk about, oh, she's angry, she always has an attitude, oh, she's mean, I don't want to talk to her. Those women probably have clogged up filters, where somewhere along the way they bought into the idea that they are not enough, that they are not lovable, that they don't belong anyplace, that they're not safe. And those earlier forms of hurt that I talked about, the first category of hurt, the abuse category, those forms of abuse can actually clog your filters as well. So if you were subject to verbal abuse as a child and you were told constantly, you're nothing, you're nothing. If you were told that you were never going to amount to anything, you're dumb. If you were hit, if you were punched, if you were scratched, bitten, if someone abused you sexually, then you have a set of beliefs about your blame for that, and maybe some blame for the other person, but your blame for that then clogs your filters. So that's why it's really important when we're talking about looking at feelings and what triggers us and what upsets us, to when we feel an emotion like sadness, anger, frustration, worry, irritation, any of those emotions, it is best that you maybe write down some of the thoughts that you're having about those feelings. What is underneath those feelings? And once you understand that, then you can attempt to begin to trace back, what are my beliefs about certain things? And the people who have had the category 1 hurts, the DSM-5 diagnosis for PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, also says, they added cognitions, distorted cognitions, which means that you're thinking then gets distorted by the trauma that has happened to you. And usually, like I said previously, it is about self-blame. People blame themselves usually before they blame the other person, especially if you're a child when it happened to you. And so those distorted cognitions are not your fault. They are not your fault. But there's something that needs to be cleaned out and that needs to be looked at so that you don't walk around angry at other people for someone else's problem and someone else's dirty work. So again, you want to make sure that if you're feeling an emotion, you write down the feeling that it is, then you write down the thought that might be underneath it. And there may be a whole bunch of thoughts. I can't believe she said this to me. I can't believe she thinks that I'm less than her. I can't believe she thinks that I don't dress well. Whatever the thought is, write it down. And then really examine the thought and try to figure out, is this something that is really true, or have I heard this before? Is this a pattern in my life? Do I continue to kind of have the thought that goes back to I'm not good enough? I'm not lovable, I'm not safe. If you continue to have those thoughts, then you might have a dirty filter on your hands and you need to clean it out. So, everybody has filters. Everybody has stuff. Everybody perceives things in the way that they can because everyone has been born in this earth and has a different set of experiences, has run into different people, has had different hurts. And so just understand that it is not a bad thing to have a filter. It is just something that you need to take care of. So, with all of that said, if you have any questions, please, please, please leave any questions in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. Be free. Be light. Free light with Ellen Wright. Have a great day. Peace.